Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of Real Business Roundtable. Today's episode is called Be Human.
It doesn't hurt to be human.
What does that mean? That means in business that people that you do business with or you're doing business with them, vice versa, okay? Business, consumer, business to business. It's always good to maintain the human element. When you're dealing with a business, either as the consumer or the business, vice versa, it's always good to maintain that human element. Don't be like robotic. Don't be so transactional. Try not to be cold, because people can pick that up and it really loosens the relationship the more robotic and less human that you are. It's always good to have a phone conversation, have a real conversation.
Here's the thing. A lot of these episodes come from actual experiences.
Yes.
And sometimes, it's a recent experience. For me, it is a little bit this time. So we have a lot of business partners, right? Not like that own the businesses. It's more of like a vendor of some sort, or like just some sort of business relation. Now, when I start a business relation, if they're not around here, I'd take them out to eat, just get to know them as a human, because at the end of the day, you gotta work with people that you can trust. You gotta build that trust. You gotta build that likeliness, you gotta build that relationship, the rapport. Sometimes it's hard to do that, especially with businesses who are just a lot of robots, right?
Yeah.
Now, whenever I build a relationship with a business, I like to have, unless it's this massive company, then I understand, but I like to have a relationship with the owner.
Yes. Cell phone number, email.
The communication doesn't have to be with the owner. But if I have their contact, they have my contact, we can always get in touch if there's ever an issue or something to discuss. Or I like to have that. That's good in a relationship.
Yes.
Now, a lot of businesses, even businesses within the SMB sector, smaller, medium-sized businesses, who offer a service, they've taken that humanity out of their relations, out of their customer service, out of their day-to-day with their clients, with their vendors. And I don't agree with that. Whenever I speak to anyone, I have people who I have a long-term, very healthy, lucrative relationship with. It's always when I have direct contact with the owner. We can call each other and say, hey, what's up, bro? Hey, how you doing? I'm traveling over here. I'll see you then, whatever. Those are the best kind of relationships. The best kind of relationships. Now, if we're talking about larger companies, negotiations, stuff like that, things don't need to be too personal, right? You can keep the personal out of it. But being yourself within your business, within your relationships, is probably one of the most valuable things you can have as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, CEO, whatever you are. Being yourself will allow you to reach new levels of success, because if you try to be too robot-y, you try to be too corporate, try to be too policies, right? It's you're losing that
you got to be flexible. So
you have to be.
Say you have a policy in place, right? There's a policy in place. There's restrictions. But
as simple as no refunds, right? That's a simple one.
Well, like the client comes to you and says, "Hey, here are the circumstances X, Y, Z. You have to separate the business bullshit with just on a human level, and say, okay, let me hear them out. Okay, this makes sense. Let me make an accommodation. Let me make an exception." You have to have that flexibility, and you have to literally your business has to have that human soul, right? Because if you lose that, you become less and less desirable to work with.
Yes.
And you got to hear them out. Like years ago, one time I had a client, they developed stage 4 cancer. Guy owed us a shit ton of money. Okay. I met with him. He was coughing up blood in the meeting. It completely broke my heart. And I said to him, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm gonna do that. Don't even worry about it. Guy's like pulling out his checkbook. He had a butt in his mouth. He was trying to cut me a check, and I'm like, dude, Just take care of yourself. Don't worry about it. But that's the human element, right?
Yeah.
Even
Yeah,
the way you speak to people has to be on a human level, friendly level. Remember, living room voice. Do not talk to somebody in customer service robot voice. So like if you go to like a department store or a restaurant and you hear the way that they talk to people. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Very proper.
Oh, yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes,
Oh,
sir.
blah, blah,
Yes.
blah. Like wicked, like almost condescending and borderline disrespectful. And you're like, almost like, is this person trying to get a rise out of this person? I don't know what's going on, but you observe this weird behavior in usually bigger companies.
Yeah.
And this weird like robot, like there's a stick up their ass. And people do not respond to that. They don't like it. And I don't know where it comes from.
I have another situation that's similar to what you're saying, just not as heavy. So I have a client we have a client, but we work with this roofing contractor. We help him grow his business through, leads and insights and stuff like that. He was struggling, but he wanted to give us a chance. Signed up, paying for the leads, things weren't going so well financially. So I gave him a break early in the relationship. And he said, and I built that relationship, that personal relationship, that used my human self, my person, my soul in that relationship, in the communication. And I said, I'll take care of you now because we both believe in this relationship. I trust that you'll take care of me at the end of the day, in the end. In the first month, closed a bunch of deals. Now he's re-ing up with us. He's doing this big program. I have multiple people like that. I have another guy right now that I'm working with, and he said, oh, this isn't really working. I said, I'll take care of you. Went to the drawing board, delivered him something that could work. Now he's fucking killing it. And he said, re-up every month. You got me. And that's happened with a lot of people. Sometimes things don't work out, right? And there's no pointing fingers. Be yourself, help out, and you'll have a client for the long run.
Yeah.
These guys are going to be, I can count on these guys because I helped them to be working with me for the next 5 years. I don't know. But at the end of the day, that's a big piece of it is the customer service and the relations. If you don't use yourself, your personality, I have many vendors. A lot of them I'm not the biggest fan of. The past month, I signed up with these. I built a relationship with a new vendor, and I can call this guy right now, and he's killing it. I can call both of the owners right now. Me and them have a group chat where we talk every day.
Yeah,
we will be working with them for a long time. It's just how it is.
So we had a vendor, and the salesperson originally, before we decided to engage said vendor, the sales guy was like, bah, 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 saying all this stuff. And I'm like, I appreciate everything you're fucking telling me right now, but I need to talk to the owner.
Yes.
I need to speak to the owner because like everything you're saying to me is great, but I have to confirm. I was like, have the CEO call me. What? Why? What? Am I in trouble? I'm like, no, dude, just have the CEO call me. And I was very surprised. I got a call from the CEO, got his direct number, asked him some questions, had to validate some things. I'm like, oh, okay, very good. Because you never know if a salesperson, and I was like, okay, verified everything. Okay, everything's good. Got things in writing. We're good to go. It was that human element of him actually breaking outside of the I'm the CEO bullshit to, hey man, what do you need? That bang, that it's not just me. That goes miles with people. That really, really,
and we will always work with them.
Resonates with people when you are on a human level. Not a, hey, fuck you, pay me type of shit, but more of like a, hey, let me work with you. Let me be flexible. Let me be transparent and show you XYZ, right? When you do those things, the underhanded message is, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
I'm a human being. I want to help. I want to try to help you reach this goal versus no, like the cold robot shit. That stuff doesn't work and it pisses people off and you just become like enemy. Hell yeah, enemy. Ladies and gentlemen, enemy. You become enemy number one when you just become just a complete shithead.
Or you become the first vendor that gets dropped.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, and what I'll end this with is it's all about building trust in your personality and just making sure that shows your personability. Just that's huge.
I have a confession. So our like third year in business, it was like a long time ago. It was like 2009. Okay. We had a client that their dad signed up for a program and the daughters wanted a massive change to the program, but we were already invested quite a bit into a whole section of the program. So they, told me all this stuff. Hey, we're taking over the company. We kind of want to change what my dad set up. And I'm just being honest. I professionally, gently, and kindly declined and said no because of X. And that didn't pan out in my best interest. It wasn't good. It wasn't good because I could feel and see that it affected the relationship. And just like life and in business, you learn. I says, you know what? That was kind of shitty of me to do that. And I recognize that and I own it. And that's part of learning in life. If you do something and then you're like, shit, you got to learn from it, move past it and do better, better, be there. Because that one fucking time that I dug my heels in was like, no, I could see it crumble the relationship. Yeah. It was literally, they were like, oh yeah, blah, 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 this is great. And to like, and I feel like I could have made that adjustment, made that change, take it on the chin. Like most recently, I had a client that owns multiple businesses, right? And one of them got sold. The new owner, when the business transferred, the new owner really didn't need to work with us because of their internal process. They already had that stuff. And I remembered it's about the relationship. Mm-hmm. Work it out. I worked it out so it was smooth for them. Okay, these guys bought it. We're working with your whole portfolio right now of all these other companies. Fuck, don't fucking worry about it. We have ghosts in the building, ladies and gentlemen. We have ghosts. But that's the human side where I worked through it, and I'm more big picture thinking. I'm a big picture thinking, very logical person. It's about logic, it's about fairness, it's about the big picture. Mm-hmm. You got to look at those three things and say, okay, does this make sense? Is this on a human level? I know they always say, oh, it's business, it's nothing personal. Well, if you operate like an ass in your business, you're gonna get ass results. It's just the plain truth.
At the end of the day, what I was saying earlier is that every single person that you deal with as a business is human. Mm-hmm. Everyone's human. Everyone's got a family. Everyone's got a home to go to. Everyone's got things going on in their life. There's so many situations involved with the humans that you work with, right? Just be yourself. Just be human. There's no need to create friction,
and right? If you can't be flexible, right? If you're in a position where you can't, right? You're like, ooh, fuck, I just invested 400 hours into this. Oh my God, what am I going to do? You need to open up and tell your client or tell the customer, tell them, explain, be like, hey, I just framed this whole house. It cost me XX. I can work with you on this to help you out so we can do this, or like try to explain to them what you've put into it, right? Explain. Hey, I did this, ma'am, sir. What about this? Now, if they're reasonable people,
which sometimes they're not, but
they'll say, okay, let's be fair, right? You gotta try to be fair, try to be logical, right? Try to look at the big picture. That's the key here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today on Real Business Roundtable. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, episode. Peace out.